Hey everybody, Josh Palmer here. Decided today I wanted to try and do like a quick one day thing. Nothing exciting, but I'm bored and I thought, let's build something, right? So I got the idea. I have this bigger overall project I'm working on. It's going to be kind of crazy if I pull it off. I'm not sure. We'll see. But what I'm going to do today is kind of just a blacksmith stall, uh, not like a structure or building, just kind of like an open air thing. Uh, Thanks for checking it out, and let's jump right into it. So when I start any project, the first thing I like to do, as you can see right here, is I kind of rough sketch the idea, uh, just so I like have a visual reference. The way I do this is I go online, I look at reference photos. I like for this one, I just Googled images for medieval blacksmith stands, shacks, and then kind of looked at the outdoor style ones and went, okay. And you can see real simple, rudimentary drawing, but it kind of keeps me focused on the end goal. When I'm starting to get a little too far out there, it lets me pull myself back in. And you can see here I got the procs on, ready to go out. I keep most of my foam in just 6x6 chunks. I have limited space, so it just makes it easier to store. Also, I kind of like 6 inch by 6 inch as like, I don't know, a standardized base size. Uh, Obviously, the Proxon doesn't really do 6 inch cuts. Well, mine doesn't. So what I end up doing is taking one of these 6x6ers and then just cutting it down the middle in half. And then what I will do is again take this now 3 inch wide, and I'll cut it down the middle this way, and that'll give me a 1/2 inch base that's 6x6. It's a good starting point for me. Now I need to create the lumber for the actual structure, the beams that hold up the roof, the roofing structure, the shingles, that kind of stuff. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the Proxon, some of the XPS, the other 3 inch piece I have, and start cutting away. Now, I know from previous projects that I've done that if I want something that's roughly in scale for like a 4x4 beam, I need it to be about a 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch thick. And then for a 2x4, I know from previous projects that I want it to be about a 1/4 inch wide by an 1/8 of an inch thick. And then I grab them, I get them textured, that kind of stuff. But what I'm going to do off camera now is I'm just going to cut up a bunch of this lumber, and then I'll see you after that part's done. Now, the XPS board I get isn't exactly an inch thick. So I can't do 1/2 inch cuts. So what I end up doing is 3 cuts. There we go, there's the third one. And get 2 of them at about a 1/4 of an inch for my base. So this one's good. And now this one I'm cutting to match. They're just, if you look, a little bit off size. So when they get glued together, it's not really going to be a good base if it's got a lip in the center. So we'll just go ahead and take a slice here. Drop off that waste, and then we'll check again. Yeah, see? Much better there. Now they're going to go ahead, I'm going to glue them together this way, make that 6 inch base. So now, just going to run, you've probably seen it 100,000 times on other videos, other channels, but I'm just going to run a bead of hot glue down the side here, grab the second one, line them up, make sure they stick well together. So I'm not really careful I shouldn't say not careful, clean. I can just get going and not think about big dollops of hot glue everywhere on this. And so, and then here we go. I kind of always do it from the bottom up. Line up that corner right there, and then just fold them in. And then I just eyeball the levelness of it. Kind of look around. Got a little bit of an edge there, so I'll tweak with it a little bit. So this is what I've got cut so far. We've got the base here. You guys saw me cut that and glue it together. These are the plywood parts to go on top for the roof. The shingles and everything else get glued onto there. And then here are the first support beams. So we've got them cut at 1/4 by 1/4 inch to simulate the 4x4s. I hopped on Google, found out about roof angles because I am not a roofer, and I just Googled average roof pitch, found out that it's about 18.5 degrees-ish. Any roofers out there, don't execute me for it. And that is modern standards, but for this application, I really didn't need to be super historically accurate. I just wanted the roof to angle. So I jumped up here on the Proxon, lined it up at right around 18 degrees or so, and pushed my 4x4, miniature 4x4s through. So that as I get to gluing and putting things together, the angle is going to match up. Okay, so what I have here is the base, and then the piece I'm going to be using for the roof. Now, they're the exact same size, and that's not what I want at all. The base is my maximum sizes. So what I'm going to do is go through and cut this, but it's going to be at random, really. Mostly square and rectangle, but not perfect. So to make sure everything lines up right between the base, the roof, and the support beams, what I've gone ahead and done was I just laid the roof where I wanted it to be, and then I poked 4 holes through the roof into the base foam with just an ink pen, right? And then that's going to give me the little holes in the bottom there, and then I can just go ahead and glue my support beams right where those holes are. And then as far as the roof goes, the holes on the top, those will get covered. Nobody's ever going to see them. So now I've got the support beams glued onto the base, right where I want them. They are a little wobbly, wonky, but once I go ahead and I get some hot glue just on the tips here where I cut some the angles for the roof pitch, and I drop the roof on, I'll be able to pull all those in right where I want them. And it's going to look something a little like that once I'm done. Okay, so here we are now with the roof actually glued on, right? Not, oh, where'd we go? There we go, not falling off or anything. But the overall structure is super flimsy. So, kind of in accordance with real construction methods, I've gone ahead and off camera made support beams, and they're just 45-degree angles cut on the Proxon, and then I'm going to glue them in here. And I've got ones for the inside, both inside corners. And then once I'm done with that, we'll come back and take a look, see if it's still stable, unstable, sorry, or if I'm going to have to come up with something for down here on the bottom. I don't know yet. We're going to find out though. So I went ahead, I got the cross beams, well, support beams, I should say, sorry, not cross beams, put on there. But it's still too wobbly for my taste. So what I've decided I'm going to do, I'm going to change my design a bit. I'm actually going to do two walls. One here on the left side and one here on the back. More for one for stability, because that will like shore up the design, but also while looking at more outdoor blacksmithing shops, medieval kind of designs, a lot of them did have those walls, and that made sense to me, because if say you have the walls, you're going to put your forge like right here where it's more protected from the wind and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to cut a bunch of lumber on the proxon, get some cross beams put in, and get it all shored up. And then we'll jump back in and I'll let you guys see where I'm at from there. Alright, so this is what I ended up with. I was working through the bricks for the brick wall that I was talking about. And then I started thinking about it as I was working on it. And I'm working on this whole kind of like wasteland village where things are just beat up. If you watched my video on the tower bridge I did, you can see where things just in this area are not going to be new. They're going to be beat up. So then I thought, you know, let's not finish the brick wall, but let's throw up some like slats of wood that, you know, looks like people have been trying to repair and continue, you know, get more life out of this structure before it finally falls down. So I'm heading that way with it. I don't know how far it's going to go, but so I've got the brick wall in here and these slats for the wall, and then for more stability and more just cool looks, I've added bricks around the outside support beams. And I actually did, let me see if I can get in there. There we go. Did get all the way around. So once this is all painted, I think it's going to be really cool in there. Yeah, so once I get those done, we're going to move on to part 2, which is going to be building like the forge, the bellows, probably like a bucket for water. I'm thinking of like a little sign here or a broken part of a sign. Just kind of, you know, all the little, I call it the scatter. I saw that term somewhere and I like it, so I use it for all the stuff that isn't the main structure. Alright, so we're getting ready to do the shingles on this guy so that it like looks like a roof and not just flat. And the way I do that is I start with a 1/2 inch wide piece of XPS foam that I have. Then I set my proxon over here for a 1/2 inch, and I cut it down the middle, and it gives me 2 different sizes. One just a little bit smaller than the other. And then I cut hundreds at once, 2, 3 at a time, 2, 300, and they all go into my can of rocks for texturing. I picked this up, I think that was Black Magic Crafts. Yeah, I saw that trick on his channel. It was freaking amazing for me. And then I just get a ton of 1/16 of an inch shingles. Well, XPS foam that will become shingles. So, and then it gets put on the structures I do with white glue. And that's it. Let it dry. I don't use the hot glue for this one. It leaves a little bit more of a gap under each one than I like. So I'm going to go ahead, shingle this bad boy up, and then I'll be back. So I got the first row of shingles on here, and I thought I'd show you guys how I do it. So once I get them down, I just grab my white glue here, and I go just like this. Draw a bead. Doesn't have to be great for the next row, right? And then I grab a shingle, and my trick is I start above and I kind of pull down. This is weird one-handed, until I get it where I like. And then I just keep doing that. And the reason I do that is so I know I get glue on the end here without a lot of leftover up top. And I can kind of pat my shingles, get them kind of the way I like them. And I have a whole video coming on how I paint these. And then, so I'm not going to talk about that a whole lot in this one. This is more about just getting it built and showing you guys how I do things. So watch for that video coming, and I'll see you again once all these are right there. Okay, so I got all of the shingles on there. The bowl's almost empty, but I had to make more. I didn't have enough in the first go round. So now if you take a look at what I got here, you'll see that none of them are uniform. I put them in at different angles. There's spots where we have shingles missing. This guy here is kind of just in his own little world, doesn't like his neighbors. Up here it looks a little more uniform, and for me that kind of creates and pushes that more wasteland, downtrodden, beaten up building. It's not being maintained. It's hodgepodge patchwork at best. So I'm going to end part 1 with this right here so I can get it edited and throw it up on YouTube and get going. So let's take a look here. We got the shingles up on the roof. I got the walls all in, the support structure in. That's day 1 of building for me on this. From there, tomorrow we're gonna do more. We're gonna add that under roof. We're gonna texture out the ground. We're gonna put in a forge. So yeah, look forward to part 2 here soon, and thanks for watching.